んにちは、皆さん。名前はニナです。今日は日本語についてお話します。Which in other words means, hello, I'm Nina. Today we are going to be talking about Japanese language. And no, I did not learn that from Duolingo. For the last 30 days, I've been studying Japanese just with Duolingo. Duolingo alone, nothing else, nothing more, nothing less. But I also was a student who went to Japan and I studied abroad there for a while. So what I really wanted to know is, can you really learn Japanese from just using Duolingo? Let's find out. Duolingo is a free learning language app, and it is really nice to use if you are on the go, if you need to learn a language every single day but you don't have the time, and it's beautiful for the fact that you can always keep using it and it's completely free. It's been a while since I've been in Japan. I've been back in America for about a year now, and my Japanese is getting pretty rusty. And first, big disclaimer, I am no way in any means fluent. For that matter, I'm still learning just like everybody else is, so please don't try to test me in the comments. I'm not very fluent, but being in Japan every day made me improve my Japanese language so much faster, and I was able to really learn about what it takes to go and study Japanese. We were studying every single day, probably 8 hours a day, as if it was my full-time job, and my Japanese language improved greatly. So now that I'm back in America, how do I get similar results? Well, let's try Duolingo. Now, granted, when I first started this, I didn't have a great impression of what I thought it was going to be like studying Japanese just with Duolingo. But I figured, why not try it, because it's one of the most commonly used apps known for learning a language. They have all different kinds of languages on there. They have Mandarin, you can learn English, you can learn Spanish, and one of the ones they've put on there recently has been Japanese. So how good is the program, and how did my 30 days go? Well, here you go. Today is day 2, but I actually started yesterday, so I promise you will see a little video. I look awful and I've done enough studying for today and I need to go to bed. So, see you in 30 days. It's the 4th day of me studying Japanese. I just finished my Duolingo for today. I don't think my Japanese is getting really any stronger from playing Duolingo, to be honest. Hi, Nihonjin desu. Nihonjin janai. So it's day 16 of me learning Japanese. I'm sorry I haven't updated in a second, but I don't think it's going very good. It's going terrible. If I'm being completely honest. I've been doing my Duolingo every day, kind of. I missed like 2 days, so I need to catch up, but I don't think my Japanese is really improving with Duolingo, if I'm going to be completely honest. I feel like I've been doing the same lessons over and over and over and over again, and I hate it. I don't even think I'm at the level of Japanese that I wanted to be at, and I know when I was in Japan, it was so much stronger. Like, I was doing harder lessons. This isn't the end of the video, because this is only, day 16 or 15? But this is just a halfway through update, and to be honest, I'm not seeing improvement. So, yeah, let's keep going through the days. Just did about 30 minutes of some Duolingo learning. Now I can do the rest of my day. I will say the convenience of doing these Duolingo thingies is very nice. So I love that. In terms of how much am I improving, that, questionable. So let's keep the days rolling. See you guys soon. Okay, I think we're on day 26 of me doing this Duolingo. I think I just completed the last one and I skipped one because I was getting really good at it so far. So that's going. So far, I'm not learning anything I didn't already know in Japanese. So let's keep the ball rolling. I think it's day like 27 or 28 of doing my Duolingo. I'm just recording this while I'm in the car because I already did my Duolingo for today, and to be honest, I'm getting kind of annoyed because every time I do it, I feel like I'm getting stupider. Not for the fact that I'm not learning anything, but for the fact that I feel like I'm just doing the same lessons over and over again. It's almost getting to the point of like, this is really freaking annoying. So Another thing I realized is I didn't have any way to test how much I improved before and after, but I remembered that sometime in February I decided to take a Japanese test, just a couple sample questions. So we're gonna base my improvement off of that. I did this in February. I took the N5 test. Actual JLPT test is a lot longer than this. These are just sample questions, which is like the beginner level of Japanese, versus N1 is probably the hardest. Some Japanese people even struggle taking the N1 test. It is very difficult. You need to know lots of kanji for that. Your katakana and hiragana have to be basically perfect. You're learning a lot of sentence structure, things of that nature, whereas N5 is a little more basic. You might be doing basic vocabulary, not a lot of kanji in it, and it keeps going down, I guess I should say. From there, you can do N4, N3, N2, N1. When I took the N5 in February, just to give myself a basis, I think I got a 7 out of 10, which is pretty decent. I would say pretty okay, but for it being the most basic level of the JLPT tests, it's not really that great. It just means that I know basic Japanese things.
Wow.
You're more than welcome to check these out in the description if you guys want to know a little bit about that. So I'm going to be retaking the N5 test to see if I improved at all. To be honest, I don't think I'm gonna improve all that much on the N5. It is just a beginner level, but I did a lot of beginner level things inside the Duolingo course. If I finish all of this section, I think that kind of gets you into learning more complicated things. So I might have to do an update on this video in the future of continuing using Duolingo to see if I eventually get to some more sentence structured things, which would get me closer to doing a lot better on maybe the one day N2 or N1 JLPT testings. So first off, let me just say the things I like about using Duolingo. Duolingo is mainly a great app for on the go. I think that was one of my biggest things I liked about using Duolingo, and I'm sure a lot of you might feel the same way. It's one of those apps that you can just consistently always use, no matter where you are. I'm literally making this video, and what can I be doing right now? Duolingo. It takes almost 5 minutes. I think every day I did Duolingo for about 10 minutes a day. And like I said, you aren't going to be very fluent in Japanese if you're just doing it for 5 to 10 minutes a day. It really depends on how much work you're doing it. So some days I might have done 20 minutes, other days I've done 10, but in actuality, you're probably looking at wanting to do at least 30 minutes to an hour of studying a day. Another thing I will say I liked about the app is that it is fun. I wouldn't say these are very hard in-class structured lessons. These are lessons that you are literally doing almost as if they were a game. I think when I first started, I think I started somewhere in the middle of where my beginning was, and on it has a lot of different lessons that you can do. The lessons I believe are a little bit short, unfortunately. I think they could be a lot longer because I don't know how well you're going to do by just learning how to order food and describe people. That's good things to know, but your first lesson doing that, I don't know about that. Another thing I really liked about it is it was just so easy to do. I did like is being able to learn all of the alphabet. I didn't even know that was a thing. I pretty much know the Japanese alphabet, so I didn't really make use of going through having to write the characters of hiragana, katakana, and kanji, though I will probably use. And I will say, because I thought I was pretty good in Japanese, I did skip over one section, but I was trying to get more of a feel from it as if I were a beginner, so I didn't try to do that often, but occasionally I'd get so bored. I do like being able to continuously, if I feel like I've gotten good at something, being able to test out of a subject, test out, I can always skip. The one thing I will say I didn't like about learning Japanese specifically on Duolingo is that when it comes to doing Japanese, there's a lot you need to know about sentence structure and verb order, and I don't think I really picked that up, especially from how far I went into it. Now, granted, if I was probably doing a 1-year challenge of Duolingo, maybe I'd have different thoughts on it, but just doing it for 30 days, I wasn't able to pick that up. And personally speaking, in my first lessons of when I was learning Japanese abroad, some of those big sentence structure things were the things we wanted to know right off the bat. I think for a beginner, you might end up learning Japanese like you might learn it from an anime. You might pick up a couple words, you might be able to pick up a few phrases, but unfortunately, it didn't have that, I want to learn grammatical things. I want to learn sentence structure. I want to learn vocab. You know, I wasn't picking that up in my first 30 days, unfortunately. It almost felt like I was learning the same thing over and over and over again. And granted, you are supposed to do that. The more you practice, the better you will be at it. But in terms of these lessons though, I thought the lessons would each be differently. Now granted, I'm saying the sections, not the units. All of the units are different. You will learn something different out of each unit, but I'm saying in terms of the sections itself, they were pretty much, it was the same like lesson over and over and over again. And to be honest, that was frustrating. I get it, they're trying to put you in the habit of trying to remember your vocab and doing it over and over again, but I wish they would kind of implement new things a little more frequently in these unit sections, as opposed to learning it maybe in the first one and then going over it a million other times until you get the end of the unit. Hi, Nina here from the future. I'm sorry I look like this. I just woke up and I was like, I need to add this into the video. I didn't get to talk about it too much. So while I was editing this, I actually was able to test out of Unit 1, and I realized I didn't do this during my time of doing the Duolingo. My Japanese, I guess, is stronger than I thought, because while I tested out of it, I was able to go into the second unit of Japanese, and I'm able to pick up a lot more of what I learned actually in Japan. And I'm assuming there's going to be a lot more, because this section is super long and has tons of different things in it. So I just wanted to add another positive thing about Duolingo. Once I jumped into this, I was learning more of some of the things I actually wanted to study in Japanese. And to be honest, I should have done this at the beginning of just tested out of Unit 1, because I think that would have made my experience a lot better. Section 2 of learning the Japanese, I found out that you do get to learn a little bit more about verb structure. You get to learn a lot more about those past tense, those pretense things, those verbs that I thought I wanted to get in Unit 1. I will say though, it's unfortunate that you have to wait until you get to the second section to really pick up some of those things. So that's another detriment I wanted to say. But overall, I don't think that Duolingo is really all that bad. Having this free option as opposed to buying a book or a textbook, I think Duolingo is a great option for this. I didn't get to say that initially while editing, and I realized that's my mistake. This is a great free app. I do think you might be better off and learning faster pace if you just decided to buy a Yankee textbook or try another app that is more focused on learning those key elements of being able to speak in Japanese. I think that's where Duolingo kind of gets me a little bit. I want to be able to talk and speak as if I were going into Japan. And I think with Duolingo, it's a lot easier to learn how to read Japanese or write in Japanese. But speaking in Japanese is something that I think Duolingo has to put more emphasis on. How are you going to do that if you're not doing any speaking practice? That's the thing that I believe really frustrated me while doing the challenge, is while I did all of this, my Japanese sentence structure in speaking might still be a little iffy. But being that this app is completely free, I think that this isn't a bad option, especially if you're trying to learn Japanese without having to go out and spend a bunch of money. I'd highly recommend starting with Duolingo for that reason alone. But again, like I said, if you're really trying to learn Japanese for the notion of getting to Japan, I would still recommend getting a tutor, going somewhere, buying a book, and try to spend more time on practicing those vocab words, understanding those structures of how they put things in certain orders in Japanese, and I think you would do a lot better. But Duolingo is a great add-on tool while doing those things, and I would recommend it to anyone because it is free and because you can get a lot out of it. It looks like in section 3, you are doing basic conversations. I don't think there's a speaking portion of Duolingo really. But if there's a reading section that might come up in the future, I'm gonna do maybe an update video of what those harder sections look like in the future. So just wanted to add that in here. Hopefully this clears up some of the confusion or some of my frustrations that I had earlier on in the video, and hopefully that clears up any confusion you might have had while watching this. A lot of these apps out here are not free, and that's a little bit frustrating, but having a free option like Duolingo is amazing because it really just depends on how much work you put into it. You can get as much out of it as you want, but you have to put in the work and you have to make sure you're spending time on it all the time. I don't think it's amazing, but I think it's a great start. Back to the video. Bye! So those are kind of my thoughts. The things I liked about it mainly stemmed from things that were easy. It felt like it was fun. It felt like I was just going through a little routine of like, hey, gotta do my Japanese every day. I think the things I didn't like from it really stemmed from things I could actually have the ability to change. I think if I wanted to get more out of Duolingo, I could. I think another thing too is like I was going really, really slow in terms of my learning capabilities. Moving on to the next part. I did Duolingo for 30 days. Do I think I improved? Do I not think I improved? Let's see if I improved. Personally speaking, I don't think I really improved all that much. I really felt like I was just taking Japanese 1 again, but in a really slow way. And 30 days is not long enough to really say I learned the language. But I can say, since I've had some prior knowledge, let's see if I improved at all. You're gonna see a little clip of that here.
A few moments later.
Okay, I just finished the test. Yay, so how did I do? Okay, it turns out I was wrong. There's not 10 questions. I think there's 14. And to be honest, it might change every time. But let's see how I did. I got a 10 out of 14. So I think that constitutes as a little bit of improvement. To be honest, I think it is about the same. I think last time I must have gotten an 8. I did a little bit better than I did last time. That being said, it doesn't feel like a great improvement. I will say this, from Duolingo though, I think I was able to understand the listening portion of the exam a lot better. So I think listening to so much of the keywords from Duolingo was actually really helpful, and going over some of the vocabulary that I did in Duolingo, seeing it again here made me pick up on it a little faster. Last time I had to do this test in 10 minutes, and I think I did it, since I wasn't timing myself this time, about 15 minutes as opposed to last time. So there's that. So final thoughts. Can you learn Japanese from Duolingo? Yes and no. Did my score improve a little bit? Yes, it did, but I would say not by much. What I took from Duolingo is that my listening skills, I think, improved a lot, and I was able to pick up on a lot more vocab words. So that's pretty cool. Overall, though, I don't think Duolingo is the best app for learning Japanese. In terms of if I had not known any prior Japanese knowledge, I think I would have done really poorly on this N5 test. And to be honest, I don't think I would have even gotten this far without just knowing a little bit of Japanese beforehand. But let me know down below, have you ever taken a JLPT test? We'll leave the link down below if you'd like to do some sample questions. Overall, is Duolingo a good app to use? I put it this way. I think Duolingo is great if you are looking to study. I think Duolingo is great for studying. And when I say studying, I mean you might already have a little knowledge and you're ready to just revamp this. Meaning for someone like me, I should continuously use something like Duolingo, so I'm constantly trying to remember my language skills. Now for a person who is a beginner, and I don't know how it is for the other languages, so quick disclaimer on that. I'm saying for Japanese personally, I don't know if I would recommend learning Japanese on here. I think for beginners, Duolingo is a great start, but I definitely don't think that Duolingo should be the only thing that you're using. I think if you really want to be fluent in Japanese, you definitely need to spend more time with books, talking to people, and becoming more immersed in the language. As for more intermediate people who are learning Japanese, I'd recommend using this app to study, but I wouldn't recommend basing your whole language studying from Duolingo. Also, I forgot to add that in there. If you would like this video today, please give it a like, comment, and a subscribe, please. It means so much to me, and I would really, 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 really appreciate it. Thank you. That's just my kind of thoughts and opinions on that. Let me know what you think down below, if you used Duolingo previously, if you've learned a lot of Japanese. I don't think I'm going to end my Japanese streak here in Duolingo. I'm going to just try to keep my streak going as long as I can and trying to remember to do my little bit of practice every single day. I do think it is great for that. And maybe I'll give you guys an update to see if maybe I can do like a year of Duolingo. Let me know what other apps I should try down below. Let me know if you like this video and what else I should try in terms of helping us all learn some Japanese here today. Overall, thank you guys so much for watching. Let me know down below what you thought of today's video, and I'll see you in the next one. Sayonara!